Guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is my Grail watch flip-flop, okay? You saw in a couple videos back my Grail watch Submariner that I got. It was a 1999 Swiss-only dial, beautiful watch. The only problem is the case was over-polished, just overdone, and it bothered me. And in order to have that corrected, it was going to cost some money, and it wasn't original. And I wanted an original, unpolished, untouched, Submariner watch. And the gentleman I got that watch from, we were chatting about, Rolexes and this and that. He says, well, hey, I've got the Sea Dweller. If you want to trade that one back for this Sea Dweller, put a little bit on top, throw some money in there, you can have this one. I was like, okay. So here it is. This is the Rolex Sea Dweller from 2000. Okay, it's a 20-year-old watch. It's completely, if you look at the top of these lugs, it's completely brushed. It's got its factory brushing, has its factory polished bevel there on top, factory polishing on the sides. Yes, there's some scratches on the sides, but no dings. So this watch is like immaculate. It's untouched, and that is what you want as a collector. If you look at that healing escape valve, a lot of times when people polish these watches, the healing escape valve gets polished also. If you look at that, it's not polished. So this case is completely untouched, and it's in very good condition for 20 years old. So from what I understand, it looks like the person, because he only had this for about a year, and it looks like the person he got it from had the movement serviced, but didn't have the rest of the watch serviced, which is great. So the guy that had it before was probably a collector also, and he knew the value. He understood the value of keeping the watch, original. Okay. Let me get some things out of the way real quick. So this one here, if you don't already know, the dimensions is a 40 millimeter from side to side, just like the Submariner. And I've never had a Sea Dweller before. I've had a bunch of Submariners. I've never had the Sea Dweller, but I'll be honest, the Sea Dweller feels more substantial. It just feels more of a high-end watch, like it's made better than the Submariner. And the Sea Dweller, all it is, I think it was 1965 or right in that range, 67 was the first Sea Dweller model. It just had a higher depth rating from the Submariner, but it kind of evolved to be more substantial. They made a thicker case, thicker crystal, and it's not all that thick. If you compare it to watches of today, like the Tudor Pelagos that I had, even the Tudor Black Bay, even the Black Bay 39 that I had, that case thickness, the mid case thickness, is actually thicker than this. The only place that this is thicker is it has a thicker bezel, thicker crystal, and thicker case back. Okay, other than that, that's it. And this wears way better than any of those other watches due to the fact that it's still a 40 millimeter. So if you ever were afraid to wear a Sea Dweller or a watch like this in these dimensions, don't be, because this is probably the perfect watch. It fits me perfect, and I am super happy with this watch. So the dimensions from side to side are 40 millimeter, okay? Let me show you the tip-to-tip dimension here so you see that. The tip-to-tip dimension is, let's see, try to get it true, 47.5, okay? The thickness, which everyone's going to complain about, is 13.3, okay? I've heard some people say it's like 14, but let me see. I'm going to make sure I get right on top. Yeah, I'm right there. 13.3. So I've heard people say these are 14.5. Now Submariner is like 12.5, right around there. So this is only a millimeter bigger than the, and of course it has 20 millimeter lugs, but only a millimeter bigger than the beloved Submariner, okay? So this watch here, I think it's amazing. It's just an amazing piece. It's completely, like I said, untouched. The other Submariner that I had, the top of the bezel was even worn down, like polished too much. So they went polish crazy on it, and I just didn't want that. And The guy that I got these two watches from, of course, trusted, and he's a watch enthusiast. He's got a lot of different, he's a big Submariner fan, and he knows his watches. So when I saw this, he sent me pictures of this. I was like, let's do it. Okay, let's just do it, because I love the condition of this. I mean, it looks like it almost looks like it's old new stock, or new old stock, and it's just beautiful. And everything, the movement is running great. Let me put it on the time grapher so you guys can see real quick. We'll do that. We'll do a Loom test too. Of course, this is just kind of my quick look. It's not a review yet, but look at this. So +3, amplitude at 289, beat error 0.1. The beat error before, when I was checking this, was at 0.0, which is amazing. So it goes back and forth, but this movement has been serviced. It's in really good condition, very good running condition. So another thing that I really like about this watch is it doesn't have the Cyclops. Okay. The Cyclops, for some people, they love it. Some people hate it. I actually love it. I don't mind it at all, but it makes the dial look cleaner, because I like having a date. I like the no date Submariners, but I like having a date, and I need it for, work and everything. I need to know the date. I write the time down quite a bit, date down quite a bit. So you can see the date window is just perfect in where it's at. So it's still very, balanced dial, in my opinion. And it's just, I don't know. I think this is probably where it's at. If you're looking at vintage or older Rolexes, this is where it's at, is the older Sea Dweller. This is the reference 16600, if I didn't mention that. Produced from, what was it? 1989 to 2009. And then when they discontinued it, they went to the Deep Sea, which is a mistake in my opinion, because the Deep Sea was just like a bloated, massive watch. Of course, you see now they have the James Cameron. They came out with a new edition of this, which is a 43 millimeter, which is a good looking watch, but still, in my opinion, too big at a 43. I think the 40 millimeter is just perfect. It's where it's at. But this is running the 3135, 31 jewel, all in-house Rolex movement. Tried and true, full balance bridge, great movement. Okay, awesome movement. And like I said, it's 48 hour power reserve to 50, right around there. But like I said, this thing is just in immaculate condition. It fits really well on the wrist. Let me throw that on there. And I mean, it really fits just like a Submariner. It's just a little bit taller. And if you compare it to other watches that are, new modern watches, they're this thick anyway, but they're like 42 or 43 or 44. They're just big. So this is, in my opinion, probably the sweet spot. It's perfect. And I was kind of comparing between my Seamaster and the Rolex here, and look at the Seamaster's dial, how much bigger it looks. It's just a big dial. Now this is a 41 millimeter, and it's got pretty much the same dimensions when it comes to lug length, but a 41 millimeter, but they made the dial a lot bigger on this watch. Okay. And then your thickness, it's not all that different in thickness. It really isn't. So anyway, but we'll do comparisons later on with these watches, everything else. Let me do a Loom shot real quick too. And you know what, before I do the Loom shot, I wanted to kind of share that if you look, now this book, you may have this book, I'm not sure. I've had it for years, the Rolex Report. But if you look for this, even back then, they were selling for more. So if you look at the, back in 2000, this is from 99 to 2002. If you look at the 16610 Submariner, okay, $3,875 is retail. And then if you look at this watch, the 4000 Sea Dweller, $4,000. Okay, so even back then they were commanding more. I believe that they are worth more than the Submariner. I believe they're just as iconic. If you look at its history and everything, with pretty much this model came out due to Comex, needing a watch that would, for saturation diving. and you know they were blowing the crystals off and everything of the Submariner. So what they did was they took a Submariner from back then and they put a helium escape valve in it, and that was just for COMEX, and they were doing that for quite a while. Then the Sea Dweller came about. So the Sea Dweller was really more for the general public, and of course, you know, being used with COMEX too. But the original ones had the COMEX on the dial. In fact, I don't think they even had Submariner. I think the first ones had Submariner on the dial, then COMEX, and then it was just COMEX. Then it turned into Sea Dweller, and that was back in the late '60s. But I really think this is, in my opinion, a better Grail watch for me, and it's in just immaculate condition. I mean, even the bracelet, the buckle, everything is look at this. The crown hasn't even been, the coronet hasn't even been polished down or anything. It looks really good and crisp. So the guy that owned it was careful with it, and it's in very good condition. Of course, I'm going to wear the hell out of it, and I'll try to keep it good, but I want to keep it original. I don't want to mess with it. I mean, if I have to service the movement, I will, but that's about all I'll do to it. But I love that it has lug holes because I can do strap changes easily. And it has the newer movement, 3135. So you don't have the older 3035 that didn't have it just had a balanced cock, not a full balanced bridge. This has a Breguet overcoil, which is better. So timekeeping is going to be amazing on this watch compared to the older Rolex movements. So I think this is way better, in my opinion, for me, for my collection. So I'm happy I did this. So anyway, let me loom it up here, and you guys can see that. And we'll do the Seamaster also, just so you guys can see the difference. The Seamaster is probably going to be way better. This Seamaster is just, the lube is amazing on it. But let's kill the lights real quick. This is becoming a long video, but at least you guys can see, share with you in my journey. But yeah, look at that. So the Seamaster is just, it's got more real estate though on the loom plots, but just amazing. Both of them are good, but that Sea Dweller still has amazing loom, looks good, very, very nice. So let's turn the lights back on. So there you have it, guys. This is my Grail piece, Rolex Sea Dweller 16600. It's going to stay in the collection. I really like it. In fact, the gentleman I got it from, his friend wanted to buy it, and they reached out to me, and I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to do it. I think these things they're trading for anywhere from $7,500 to $8,500 on eBay, different watch forums, stuff like that. Sometimes I see them listed for higher, even $9,000. So Rolex prices they're crazy right now. And I'm not sure if that's going to ever sell down or if it's just going to continue to go up because of the supply and demand. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I have my hands on this one and I'm super happy with it. And it will stay. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.